much, and good morning, everybody. Mr. Rajaraman, Professor Bhaskar, Professor Sundravalli, colleagues and friends from the industry, thank you very much for being here this morning. IGPC itself is something which always makes me personally very proud. About 10 years ago, when I just came into this industry, I had very little idea about gold myself at that time. I was from a more difficult job. I moved in here. Then the first thought that came to my mind as I sat learning about this industry from all the friends here, Harish Acharya is here, I learned a lot from all these people, was it's so strange that, if you're selling a shampoo, if you're selling even a razor, whatever it is, full lot of IM guys are happy to be there. But when I looked around, there was nobody writing about gold. There was no discussions on gold. And it was very strange. The people who were talking about gold were people in the business who were talking for the sake of business, And then I realized the so-called, if I may just use the word loosely, intellectual community was completely avoiding gold in India. So it set me thinking, saying that, why does that happen? And that's when I started interacting with IIM Calcutta, Bangalore, and of course, IIM Ahmedabad also came in. They were faster in moving around. And thankfully, I had huge support from London at that time. And I said, why don't we form a kind of a board, a policy center, where instead of us talking only as a foreign body, of course, people are listening, why don't we create something which is India-owned, where people actually look at it and say, yeah, they have no agenda, and let's discuss gold. And that was the whole thing. My company was very supportive, so we formed this India Gold Policy Center. We thought it will be about a 2 or a 3 year exercise. But then you realize that it could just go on. And now when I look back, it's been there, and this is the 7th conference. And then slowly we changed the policies. We said, let's have conferences, let's invite people. And then initially it was limited to IIM Ahmedabad. Now I see that Ahmedabad now actually attracts people, whoever wants to study gold. They are able to actually use the platform provided by IGPC. So if I really look back, this has just really been extraordinary success. So first of all, I thank IMA and Professor Bhaskar. It has been a fantastic thing, what has happened with IGPC. And probably, yes, there is a lot of distance to cover, but what has been achieved so far is very, very impressive. And I think we should just build on what we have achieved so far. So that was the thing, saying that why can't people study gold for India the way it should be studied? We have lots of problems, and Rajaraman raised a wonderful set of questions. We have to research on many things. And every aspect of this industry needs to be researched, because the overwhelming focus has been, as I see it over these years, is always, a tax arbitrage and things like that. Yes, it is a big problem, but just look at it. You are talking about other asset classes. I always wonder, you tell me one asset class where nearly 60% of the people who buy, more than 60%, actually 80% of the people, because they are bought in the form of jewelry, they don't wake up in the morning and do an MTM of their portfolio, which is why gold prices are just going on, right? I mean, nobody who buys a jewelry gets up and say, oh, really, what's my MTM today? No other asset class has got it. Still, it's a currency. It's almost a wonderful asset class. Now, it needs to be studied. How do we get this long-term mindset in other asset classes? So something that is should interest people. Similarly, as we look at it, clearly India has both an opportunity and an issue with gold. I mean, CAD is an issue. I mean, Mr. Rajaraman mentioned it. It's not easy, but what the government has done so far is very good. I mean, you look back 10 years ago, we never thought hallmarking will be mandatory. We never thought India will have something which every piece of jewelry can be actually traced. Nowhere in the world is it available, that technology. In fact, digital gold, I have some people here, Gaurav and others, actually has picked up the software that is being used. Now it's being used in Thailand as well. So, and it's also used for lending gold peer-to-peer and things like that. So we actually have a lot of successes over the years, But it's all not come together. But what the government has done in setting up the IIBX, I know it's not going to be easy, and Ashok is here. Always keep telling him, don't look at it as a short-term project. I know some of us really go through difficulty because there is no supply from India. The recycling market, about 100 tons or whatever we estimate, is just going through the jewelry channel. It's not coming out. But now, because it is IFSC now, you're able to see how prices move. In fact, we had some interesting discussions about silver prices, why it is being quoted, and then that's what we discussed in this. We never discussed this earlier. Now, you could be right, wrong, but at least you're trying to understand these things in a very professional way. So I think some of the steps that have been taken will pay us in the long term. There is, I have no doubts about it. And IGPC, as far as we are concerned, is is a permanent fixture in the Indian gold industry. I must, Mr. Bhaskar and Sundaravalli, we have discussed it. I think we should take it forward. We should take it in a very, very decisive manner. You should also actually try to bring even the Asian knowledge into this whole thing. The vision is anything, because today, if you really see, central banks are buying gold. But there is still that, Russia, China, India, Singapore, we are buying so much gold, actually. So there is obviously an Asian thirst for knowledge in this particular case. And there is something else in other markets. Like, I have met professors in Beijing University who are absolutely delighted to work with us. In Singapore, there are people who want to work on gold. I think this is all, we have to synergize this. And IGPC is a very good platform to bring the synergy. IMA has the, the ability to do that. So my other request to IGPC, again, I'm not here because these are all people who they're sitting on the other side, know more about gold than I do. I would definitely look at IGPC to say, we must now take up specific subject matters that matter to the, IIBX is one, specific matters like recycling, not gold monetization. What are the key things about recycling? There are young researchers who want to research. Instead of researching about why people buy gold, we must now actually incentivize them to study about how does the recycling market really work. I mean, there are experts here, but still, you could just bring that momentum of knowledge and further study into recycling. We absolutely have to see how RBI can become more comfortable with banks coming in. So whatever it needs to do, I think the engagement with the Reserve Bank of India has also got to increase. And the last but not the least, I would just leave it with that. Over these years, I've seen some fantastic speakers. Mr. Rajaraman himself is one. I mean, the knowledge that they have acquired in their busy schedule about gold. Dr. Reddy was another person who has written. Of course, he is now not able to travel. We have Mr. Dr. Rangarajan, who has spoken at ASSOCHAM. They have a wealth of knowledge on gold, actually. Usha Thorat is another. There are lots of people in this. I'm just mentioning a few to say that people have worked on gold. I think IGPC could probably look at all this and see how you are engaged. And Mr. Rajaraman has now spoken about gold. Never should we let him go off the bullion market, ever. Wherever it is, I think I suggest there are some, overseas visitors also. Send an invitation to Mr. Rajaraman to come and speak. That's the way it is, because the bullion market requires experts like that who are not doing the business, but who have knowledge of gold to come and speak from a distance to us. So, and with those words, I once again congratulate IGPC. It's an absolutely great thing that India has got this. No other country has got such a institution, such a center. I think we should build on this, and I thank everyone who are here this morning and for the next 2 days. Let's have some free and frank discussions here, because this is not something which is there. This is actually a research-based approach to gold. And 10 years from now, when we look back, I am pretty certain that India would have been very successful both in IIBX and in recycling. Either India has to recycle more or it has to export more. Both, I think, are now topics that we can leave to the researchers to tell us what more can we do. Thank you very much.